Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Vince and I post on this channel every single week about options trading. So if you guys are trying to get into options trading, if you want to learn a little bit more about it, then make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So yesterday, Thursday, July 30th, we had some really big tech companies report their earnings. We had Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook, which pushed their earnings back one day. They all reported their earnings, and we saw some really big moves after hours when they reported some really good numbers. Now into today, there was only one company that really held those gains and continued higher past those highs, and that was Apple. Due to the great earnings and the hype around the 4-to-1 stock split, we saw a huge move today on Apple, which is Friday, July 31st. It was up over 10% in just one day. And you guys know me, I went ahead and I made sure I took advantage of that momentum. So in today's video, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and break down what that 4-to-1 stock split means for the stock, for options, as well as for price-weighted indexes like the Dow Industrial Average. And then I'm also going to show you where I called out my Apple trade in the Discord chat and why I went ahead and I took that trade. So if you guys are excited for the video, first, make sure to smash that like button. Now let's go ahead and roll the intro. Alright guys, so what I first want to do is I want to go over the 4-to-1 stock split, how it affects the stock of Apple, how it affects the options, and how it affects a price-weighted index like the Dow Industrial Average. So going over to the whiteboard here, first off, excuse my handwriting, it's not very good here on the mouse, but we have a 4-to-1 stock split, meaning that for every 1 share of Apple, it will now equal 4 shares in the equity position, the equity amount of those shares. So if you have 1 share of Apple at $400, let's go ahead and say it's $400. Let's go ahead and times that. So you have 1 share of Apple at $400. The equity in that position is $400. So you have $400 position in Apple if you were holding 1 share right now. Now after the stock split, what will happen is they're going to make this 1 share into 4 shares. But what they're going to do is they're going to divide the stock price by 4, meaning that you will have it at $100 a share. So your new price paid for that Apple stock that you currently hold will be divided by 4. Let's say you bought it at $400, you will then have it at $100 a share. But to compensate for that dilution, they're going to go ahead and give you 4 shares. So your equity in the position is still 400. It makes no difference to the amount that you're up in the position, to the amount that you're down in the position, the amount that you have in the position. It all flushes out because they're diluting the stock, but then they're compensating by giving you more shares. Now, I had some questions in the Discord chat this week about should I buy Apple now or should I wait until after the stock split, thinking that they're going to get a better price for the stock. Now, really, it's not a better price. The valuation of the stock is going to be the exact same. So to illustrate that, let's say you wanted to go ahead and buy $1,200 of Apple stock. You have $1,200 in cash in your account, and you wanted to go ahead and invest it. So you have $1,200, right? And for $1,200 at a $400 stock price, you could go ahead and buy 3 shares. So if you have $1,200, the stock price is $400. That means that you're going to equal 3 shares of Apple stock. Now, after the split, you still have $1,200, right? So you still want to invest that. But now the stock price is only $100. So yes, you do have 12 shares. So you are buying more shares of the stock, but the equity in your position is still $1,200. You still have $1,200 in the position, and that's really what matters when it comes down to percent gains and the amount of money you're going to make on this position. So let's say that Apple went up 20%. Whether you have 3 shares or if you have 12 shares, you're still going to go ahead and make $240, right? So you have a $1,200 position, 20% of that is $240. It does not make a difference whether you have 3 shares or whether you have 12 shares. So the next thing that you may be wondering is how does this stock split affect option pricing? So going over to the whiteboard once again, let's go ahead and say that you have a $400 call on Apple. Let's say you have a far expiration, right? So you have a September expiration $400 call on Apple. Now, what will happen after the stock split is that $400 call will then become a $100 call. So you'll have a $100 call and you'll still have for the September expiration. Now, some people think that they're smart and they're going to outsmart the system and go ahead and buy a $100 put because the stock split after the split will go down to $100, and that is definitely not the case. So you can't go ahead and buy a $100 put in anticipation of a stock split happening and then you go ahead and see that your put is now in the money and you make a ton of money. What will happen if you buy a $100 put is that $100 put will then become a $25 put after the stock split. So you can't outsmart the system. You can't go ahead and buy $100 puts because there's a stock split coming. Whatever strike price that you have right now, it will also be divided by 4 to compensate for the stock split. So the next thing that I want to do before we get into my positions is show you guys how this stock split affects a price-weighted index like the Dow Industrial Average. So going over to this article from Investopedia, I'll link it below. A price-weighted index is an index where each company's stock is weighted by its price per share. A price-weighted index gives greater weight to stocks with higher prices in terms of their contribution to the index's value. Now going down to this, in a price-weighted index, a stock that increases from 110 to 120 will have a greater effect on the index than a stock that increases from 10 to 20, even though that this move right here is a higher percentage point move. Now basically what this means is that Apple will no longer be as influential to the Dow as it is right now. Right now, Apple is the largest stock in the Dow as price per share goes, and after the stock split, it will no longer be. And that means that a move on Apple will not help the Dow move higher as much as it does right now. Now moving over to this article from Barron's, what we can see is after the Apple stock split, the highest price stock in the Dow will now be United Health Group, and then followed by Home Depot. So really what they're saying is that the Apple 4-to-1 stock split will greatly diminish its influence in the Dow Industrial Average. So we have to keep an eye out for that. Apple will no longer bring the Dow up like it does right now. And, that might be, detrimental to the Dow. Probably not so much in the long term, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. All right, guys, so now that we went over the stock split, how it affects the stock, the options, the Dow Industrial Average, let's go over my trade today. I'm up about $2,500 on it, and I'm still holding it into the weekend. But I want to show you the technical analysis that I did to get into the stock, as well as the 2 times that I added to the stock and why I did that. So going into the charts, let's go ahead and dissect this a little bit. So Apple opened up. It fell along with the whole tech sector. It was falling quite a bit in the morning, but Apple found some really nice support. So what we can see, we fell, we bounced, we fell again, and we found some really nice support here, right? So we have a nice support line here, right around $404, let's say. So that was good to see. I was watching that. I saw these bounce. I saw this second bounce. And then I saw that the QQQ, which is, the ETF for the NASDAQ, was finding support as well. And I was pretty comfortable that Apple might try to rebound here. So we had a little rebound. And what I was watching was this break of the VWAP. So we saw the break of the VWAP right here. And I was starting to get interested in potentially getting into this stock. So if I pull up my confirmation, I'll go ahead and pull it up here on the screen. This is it right here. So you guys can see I'm up $2,500 on the Apple call, up 118%. And then I have a QQQ put that was a hedge that I'm currently down on, but it is what it is. That's just a flush. So what we can see is that my first buy on Apple was right here at 1049. So going back to the chart, if we go to 1049, I'll go ahead and put a circle where I bought it. So 1049 is right here. So right on this candle is where I went ahead and I purchased the Apple. So in hindsight, I probably should have waited to see if Apple held the VWAP here. You can see that it broke it and I got a little excited. So I went ahead and I got into it there. But in hindsight, I probably could have waited for this to go down and then, make higher highs. That's usually what I like to show you guys and teach you guys. Now I did mess up a little bit there. It ended up working. And, if it didn't make higher highs, and if it continued lower here, I would have went ahead and cut my losses. So ended up working out. It bounced, got back higher on the VWAP. And at that point, I was just continuing to watch Apple to see if it would continue to uptrend. So we had a nice uptrend. We started to fail here a little bit. Now what we can see is we can see a little bit of a head and shoulders here, right? So you have a shoulder, you have a head, and you have a shoulder here. So a bearish sign. So I was watching this, and you can see that it did end up falling back to the VWAP at this point here. Now what we can see at this point, I trade with the VWAP a lot, and I really like it. What we can see is that we had a nice support right here at the VWAP line. So we had a support here, and then we had another support right here, and we continued higher. So a really nice sign there. We didn't make lower lows from this point here, and we were continuing to uptrend. So if you drew a line from here to this VWAP line, we are clearly still on an uptrend, right? So we have the uptrend, we have the support at the VWAP, and that's what indicated that I wanted to add to this position. So I went ahead and I started adding to it again. So if I go here, Apple call, same one, the August 21st 420 call, and I bought it at $7.20, and I added at 1:05 p.m. So 1:05 p.m., which is right here. So right here we had the support, we had the bounce, and it looked like we wanted to continue higher. So I went ahead and I added to my position there. Now going back to where I called this out. So I'm going to pull it up real quick. This is the Discord chat, and I'll show you guys, this is the whole chat. This is the Desi trade section. So right here is where I post all my trades, and right here is the call out. So right here at 11:09, when I took it, 0821 Apple 420 call, showed the screenshot, said that I was going to hold this into the weekend, and just sort of talked about how the performance of the option was going. So 26% and counting. And we were talking about Apple all day. We had a lot of guys in here that took Apple. We were talking it all through the day, making some funny memes. So a great community. Call out all my trades. I have the associates here that call out all their trades. We have analysts that call out their trades as well. Overall, an awesome community. I'm going to make a video, coming up on some of the new features that I have in the Discord for some of the members. Overall, really happy with what we have going on here. If you guys want to join and be part of the family, it's going to be the first link in the description below. So called out the trade when I took it. And what we can see is Apple continued higher. I was looking at this right here. So we have a little bit of a flag here that I called out to the chat. So we had it flagging here and then broke out of that flag, which is a really nice sign. So it broke out of the flag and it found support again, continuing to make higher highs. It didn't at no point made lower lows here. You can see it just continued to grind higher. So my next add in this position was at 228. I added another contract at 228. So 228, which is right here. So drawing a circle there at 228, and that was at this point right here. So the reason I added here is because this perfect support. We can see right here at $412, we had a really nice support line. And I was happy to see this hold, and I was thinking that we would continue to grind higher, and that is exactly what we did. This is probably my best add right here. You can see after I added it at this position, we went a whole lot higher and just went parabolic. Now the next point that I was watching before that 412 break was the pre-market high. So if we go back and we zoom out of this, what we can see is that the pre-market highs were right around $414. So if we zoom back in, what we can see, we had a little bit of hesitation there, but after breaking that, it was off to the races, no holding back. And I held this into the weekend, and the reason is because look at this uptrend. I mean, there's not a single point that this shows you that it's going to fall down, that it's going to lose momentum, and I was happy to hold this into the weekend. So overall, a pretty awesome trade there on Apple, a really strong move that was just continuously uptrending throughout the day, showing no signs of turning back, no signs, of breaking lower lows, and that's why I went ahead and I held it into the weekend. Hopefully no bad news comes out. I'm willing to give back a little bit of profits to potentially make some larger gains. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the explanation of the 4-to-1 stock split. Hopefully that clears some stuff up for you guys. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the like button. If you want to join the Discord chat, it's the first link in the description below. And if you want to, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.